News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
And I'm John Tucker.
John, we begin with new developments in the Middle East. President Trump says talks with Iran will begin this afternoon after he called off a planned attack on Iran. The president says he stepped back from the latest attacks following appeals from Saudi Arabia and other U.S. allies in the region. And here's what he told reporters yesterday on board Air Force One.
What we're doing is we're talking to them in the form of a negotiation. It begins tomorrow afternoon, and we'll see if it's true. I'd love to do that, save a lot of lives. Save a lot of unnecessary power, to be honest with you. It would take many, many years to ever build it back. If it could, I don't think it would be even buildable back. So we had an attack that would be the biggest attack since World War II.
And President Trump suggested a deal on reopening the Strait of Hormuz may be close. We get more from Bloomberg opinion columnist Mark Champion.
He needs a deal, but he needs a deal that looks like a win for him. And that's going to be hard because at the moment, all that's being discussed is the status of the Strait of Hormuz, which was open before the war and is only an issue now as a result of the war. It's not exactly a victory if you end up with an outcome where none of the things that you said you were going to war have been dealt with, such as the nuclear program, but you have got a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz that gives Iran control that it didn't have before the war.
And Bloomberg opinion columnist Mark Champion this morning. An Iranian foreign ministry spokesman says Iran currently has no negotiations with the U.S.
And Karen, in Washington, the acting attorney general Todd Blanche says he is formally rescinding an order creating an anti-weaponization fund. Let's get details from Bloomberg's Monica Ricks.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has issued a formal announcement scrapping an anti-weaponization fund that could have paid $1.8 billion to President Trump's allies, including January 6 rioters. And he further clarified the scope of the president's sweeping immunity deal with the IRS. That move could now potentially clear the way for his confirmation as Attorney General. A Senate Judiciary vote's been rescheduled for tomorrow after Blanche reached an agreement with Senator John Cornyn, who'd been a holdout, insisting Blanche get rid of that fund permanently. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, Monica, thank you. Well, key senators have unveiled a short-term spending bill to avoid a government shutdown during the middle of campaign season. The bill would keep federal agencies funded past the midterm elections through December 11th. The Senate is likely to vote on the measure before leaving Washington at the end of the week for its traditional August recess. By extending government funding now, lawmakers can use the ensuing months to work out their differences on funding for the full year.
And let's turn to the markets where futures are higher as we begin a new trading month. This year's favorites, the chip stocks, coming off a pretty rough July. The Philadelphia Stock Exchange Semiconductor Index, the SOX, plunged 21%. That was its worst month in 18 years. And today in South Korea, the Kospi Index, that's a bellwether for AI investments, fell more than 5% after surging a record 18% on Friday.
John, the U.S. has rushed to the aid of Japan to help prop up their ailing currency, its first joint action intervention on the yen in 15 years. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent posted on X both the U.S. and Japan will not hesitate to intervene again. Japan's Finance Minister Satsuki Katayama backed that statement up when she spoke to reporters this morning in Tokyo.
We will not hesitate to conduct further joint intervention. The Japanese Ministry of Finance and the U.S. Treasury will take decisive actions if any disorderly movements are detected, and those actions will be implemented. I am telling you that we are prepared to take actions at all times.
And Japan's finance minister speaking through an interpreter. The rare coordinated intervention comes as the yen has been hovering around multi-decade lows. Following the intervention, the yen is strengthening. It's up 0.3% this morning against the dollar at 156.96.
And on the economic front in the U.S., investors are going to be looking ahead to Friday. That's when we get the jobs report for the month of July. And let's get a preview now from Bloomberg's Michael McKee.
Investors' bets on a rate increase next month hang on a strong enough economy to absorb an increase in the cost of borrowing. The Fed's first measure of that is the July jobs report out Friday. The labor market scorecard is likely to be acceptable. Most economists haven't formalized their forecasts yet, and the employment readings in this week's ISM Manufacturing and Services reports and Wednesday's ADP survey may lead some to make adjustments. Going into the week, however, the consensus is for little change in hiring, something just short of 100,000 or so. Unemployment is expected to be unchanged at 4.2%. Those kinds of numbers would reassure the central bank, not guaranteeing a rate move, but making one possible. Michael McKee, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, Michael, thank you. We have word this morning of a possible transatlantic mega deal in the drug-making industry. We get more with Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet.
Sources tell Bloomberg the UK's AstraZeneca has explored an acquisition of Bristol-Myers Squibb, which is based in New Jersey. It's a potential mega deal that would create one of the world's largest drug makers. Bloomberg News says the companies have held early-stage discussions about combining, but it's unclear if those discussions are ongoing. Bristol-Myers Squibb has a market cap of $133.4 billion. AstraZeneca has a value of £195.9 billion. Or about $133 billion. In New York, Charlie Pellet, Bloomberg Radio.
That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm John Tucker, and this is Bloomberg.